There's a mitzvah that every single Jewish person needs to remember always, as if they came out of Egypt today. And in our family, we've made it our minhag, our custom, tell my personal story every year by the Seder, because it is also a story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. I was born in northeast China, in a small city called Jixi. It is very, very close to the Siberian part of Russia, extremely cold, -33 degrees on average. My mother always wanted to understand the purpose of life. One day, when I was about 11 years old, she came across a book about Judaism. She felt like what's written in the book really resonated within her. And one of the first things that she read from the book says that whoever keeps the Torah rules would be considered a true believer, a Jew. So she came home when I was 11 years old, and she said, listen, I am Jewish, and being that I'm your mother, that makes you Jewish too. So she wanted me to also become interested in the book, in the religion in general, and she would photocopy pages from the book. She would very enthusiastically speak about stories, and slowly I became curious, interested, and I started reading this book myself. Shortly after that, I finished reading this whole booklet, and I felt quite stuck because I felt like there was much more to the Jewish life than what I read from the book. My mother one day took me to the world map, and she said to me, where would you like to go? In order to learn more about authentic Judaism, and you will have to do what Hashem told Abraham, which was Lech lecha me'artzecha. You will have to leave from China and go to a place where there are Jewish communities and Jewish people. We looked into different options, and eventually we decided to make our first stop in Singapore. We came to a figure which was beyond what we could afford, so my mother decided that she would sell our house, and that would be enough to support me for that year. It dawned on us that perhaps this would be the last time we will see each other. I became quite nervous about it, so I called her and I said that, Mommy, I don't want to stay by myself. I miss you. So my mother laughed and she said, and you think Avraham Avinu, when Hashem asked him to go, I don't think he cried. I don't think he missed his father. But Avraham Avinu was over 70 years old. Obviously, he would not miss his parents, but I'm only 15. So my mother said that, don't worry, we have a direct connection with the creator of the world. But it took one man, right, Nachshon, to jump into the water, and the water didn't split straight away. The water, kept rising, and Hashem split the sea. And you are at that stage right now. Don't worry, we're both going to start davening to Hashem. Let's have bitachon, like Hashem will split the sea. At that point, I was not familiar with the concept of shluchim, and I didn't really know what to expect. I think it was really, really hashgacha practice that I was exposed in the very first time to authentic Judaism, and the shluchim managed to make the community so welcoming. I told Rabbi Abergil that I was Jewish and I came to join the community to learn Torah, which must have come across as very strange. He said at the end of the meeting that we Jewish people take things step by step. You can come to join in, take it slowly, learn more, and see if this is really a path that you would like to follow. In the next few months, I would come to the Chabad house very often, almost daily, including Shabbos and Yom Tov. And I will use every opportunity to get to observe and learn what's going on. Every time I learned something new, I would feel so excited because I felt like I was one step closer to Hashem. I taught myself how to read Hebrew. For the first time, I spoke to Hashem in His language. That was a very, very monumental day for me. And life carries on. I'm learning different things about Yiddishkeit. Things were difficult, and there were times I felt despondent. I felt like, I'm also 16 years old, and I want to be like any other teenager. Have friends, party, and, have a free life. But over here, I have no friends. I don't know what the future will even hold. And I'm with everything that is so foreign. I was ready to take the next step on my journey to becoming a full-fledged Jew. Rabbi and Mrs. Abergel suggested that I travel to Sydney to meet with Rabbi Moshe Gutnick from the Sydney Basin in Australia. With Rabbi Gutnick's guidance, I became a part of the Jewish nation and received my Hebrew name, Rus Elisheva. My mother was so proud of me for pursuing the path I had started with her back in DC. In Kaiser Torah College in Sydney, I learned the very stories my mother had shared with me, but now from their original source in the Torah. After graduating high school, Mrs. Dina Gurari helped me enroll in Beis Chana Seminary in the beautiful city of Tzfas. There, I was immersed in Chassidus and learned from dynamic teachers who deepened my understanding and love for Jewish life. I then spent 10 incredible months in advanced studies in Melbourne, Australia, studying in a seminary with Mrs. Kornhauser. While in Israel, I had met a group of wonderful British friends who suggested that I join them as part of their staff in a girls' high school in London. Rabbi Shmulu, the headmaster, gave me the opportunity and training to become a teacher. I was grateful to live and work in a vibrant Jewish community. I made dear friends and was warmly welcomed. Rabbi Leza and Rachi Kesselman opened up their hearts and home to me, and I became part of their family. And I saw firsthand what a true Jewish and Hasidic home looks like. From Singapore to Sydney, from Tzfas to Melbourne, and on to London, Chabad Shluchim and Shluchos were there every step of the way, guiding and helping me along my path. I wanted to create a warm home of my own. My journey had led me this far, and I felt ready to build a Jewish family. Through a fascinating turn of events, I was introduced to my future husband, David. After our engagement, our wedding was to take place in London, but one piece of my heart was missing. Would my mother be there with me when I took this next monumental step? About 11 years after I said goodbye to my mother in Singapore in airport, we reunited for the first time. My mother came to England and she danced with me and with all my friends from England. It was truly emotional.
所以说，先让你到那儿，完了之后呢，你一步一步，你看心中的想法，10年以后就应验了。最后我就发现，我心里所想的总是呢，基本上很多的事件都10年应验一个，10年应验一个，心想事成。
After the chasna, I really wanted to be in a position where I can also ignite another neshama.
הצדוקו עושה הקדוש ברוך הוא מסרו שפיזרון ובין האומות. is nie der Pshat der Rebischter will, als bechol Medina und Medina soll verwogen werden, a Kamus Gedele von ihm. Nur echad mit kem Gelele Barbaria, echad mit kem Gelele Sarmatia. I das kann aufbauen, die ganze Medine, hat sie kann sein, a durch, was sich aufgeben mit 10 Iden in der Medina Rechiko, wird es werden a Teifach, wird werden a der Id a Teifach. Al Menasle hat Fiach und wird aufbauen die ganze Medine, Lechayim und Lejero und Mafelo Lejer Godet.
Baruch Hashem, today we are shluchim in Italy with our children, and we try to give over our passion and enthusiasm to our students who obviously are born into a very different background to ourselves, to give over that love and that level of passion. The very fact that, I came from a place that is completely depleted of Torah and Yiddishkeit and Hashem, but it's my mother's drive and motivation that really pushed me forward and become who I am today. But the very fact that my mother never doubted and she was very steadfast in pursuing this dream gave me the confidence. And that is a message that I would like to pass down to my own children, that, Hashem is with us and Hashem is taking care of us. And there is something called Hashgacha Pratis. You never have to be afraid. Hashem is with us everywhere.
It feels like a dream to be standing here. At the Kinus Hashluchos with all of you, my 6,147 sisters, my family. When I first began my journey as a young girl in China, I could never have imagined that this would be my life, that I would be a shluch of the Rebbe. In Milan, Italy. As I journeyed from continent to continent, I experienced the Rebbe's vision in the shluchim and the shluchos who I met, who taught me how to live as a Jew and cared for me as one of their own. Thank you, shluchos, for sharing the authenticity of Hashem's Torah. And introducing me to Judaism as a young girl. Thank you for your warmth and sense of family experienced in your homes. And thank you for introducing me to the boundless of wisdom of Torah and Chassidus. My story is personal, but its message is universal. No soul is ever too far. Every connection we make with someone connects them to their source. It takes root in their neshama, and with time, it will grow and flourish. As shluchos, you planted my seed, you nurtured my soul, and spread your light. Never underestimate the power the Rebbe has given you to reach another person just by being you, even by walking down the street as a shlucha. And even if you don't see the results of your work, know that the Rebbe is with you and there is someone out there waiting for you to welcome them in. To every shliach and shlucha I met along the way, I'm here tonight because of you. You never give up on a young girl searching for Hashem. Your light has brought me home. Now, I'm honored to carry on sharing that light and keep igniting more and more neshamas that are looking to come home and finally to bring Mashiach very soon in our days. Thank you.